My name is Tigray. I'm 24 years old.
My name is Serhas. I'm 18 years old.
My name is Kiros. I am 26 years old.
My name is Asmeret. I am 15 years old.
My name is Sadkan.
My name is Solomon.
My name is Barhan.
My name is Hafton. I am 19 years old from Hausen.
My name is Priest Waldemariam. On November 2020, we were in deep prayer at our church, St. Mary of Zion in Axum. Our prayers had to stop abruptly when we heard screams and gunshots from outside. Then, all the priests decided to go outside and plead with the Eritrean and Amhara forces to stop shooting. For the sake of St. Mary of Zion, we pleaded with them. For the sake of Christ, the Son of God, we pleaded with them. For the sake of the Creator, the Most High God, we pleaded with them, till tears dropped from our eyes. Yet, we could not stop them. They shot us all and said, "Your God is not our God." Is not our God.
On November 26, at around 2 p.m., I was heading home alone on foot from downtown Axum when I heard heavy noise of shelling in the city. As I was getting close to my house, suddenly I saw Eritrean forces entering the city with their army tanks. They saw me and I saw them. I didn't know what to do. One of them came to me and said, "Where are you going, Wayana? Trying to spy on us?" I said, "No, I'm just going home." He took his gun out and said, "No, you are not," then shot me in the head, not once, but 10 times.
When I heard the Eritrean force were in Shire sometime in November, I was very scared. My parents told me not to leave the house, even though I was supposed to meet up with my friends. Next, we heard a knock on our door. My father said to me and my mother, "Stay calm, that must be them. We are not going to open the door." They kept banging on the door and saying, "We know you are there. Open the door now." Then one of them said, "Just shoot them and throw a grenade." Exactly, that's what they did. They shot at the door and also threw a grenade at us. None of us survived.
When the Eritrean force entered our city, I was playing soccer with my friends. Suddenly, we heard heavy sound of shelling. Right away, we stopped playing and told each other we should go home. When I arrived in my town, I saw dead bodies everywhere. I was terrified because I never seen dead bodies before in my life. I told myself if I should go back to my friends. When I got to my house, my family was gone. I didn't know what to do, and I began to cry. I left my house to look after my family, and suddenly, I saw a big truck with a plate named ER and soldiers on foot. One of them saw me and began to say something. Out of fear, I began to run. As I ran, they shot me in the back multiple times.
When the Eritrean force entered Adigrat, they started firing from their army tanks into the city. Everybody was terrified, and those who were walking outside suddenly were gripped with fear and chaos. All of them began to run for their life. I began to run for my life too. Sadly, all of us didn't make it. We were all hit by shells from the tanks.
In the beginning of November 2020, there were heavy bombardment and shelling in Maikadra. A friend of mine was stuck when the Ethiopian forces came to Maikadra. I got on my motorcycle and went up to his house to help him. Out of nowhere, a group of Amhara militia named Fano confronted me upon discovering that I'm Tigrayan. They took all my money, motorcycle, and began to beat me up. Then they put a noose on my neck and began to drag me on the road saying, "Finish him." Then and there, I began to plead with God in my heart, "Lord, is this how I'm going to die?" Because the noose was too tight on my neck, I passed out right away.
The day was Saturday, November 27th, 2020. After I had lunch with my 2 kids, I decided to make coffee as usual. We were drinking coffee and chatting. Suddenly, we heard gunshots on the gate. I said to my son, Haftam, go check who's on the gate. Maybe it's Letish, my friend. Haftam got up and went to check the gate. Then, not even a minute, we heard gunshots. My daughter and I shouted, Haftam, Haftam, is that you? His sister then got up quickly to check on her brother as I followed after her. Then I heard my daughter screaming and got shot. There, I see my two sweet angels lying on the ground like slaughtered sheep, soaked in a pool of blood.
It's a miracle that I'm standing here to tell you the atrocities that I have witnessed with my own eyes in Axum, committed by both the Ethiopian and Eritrean forces. It was Sunday, November the 29th. I woke up early morning to go to church to pray. After I finished my prayer, I began to head home on foot. When I arrived on the main street of Axum, I saw countless people shot to death, covered with blood on the sidewalks. I literally saw several Eritrean soldiers running around and shooting people with no questions or hesitation. Right there and then, I felt my life was over. Now was the voice I heard from the Eritrean soldier. It means, come here, in Tigray. He added, you're effing Wayane? I replied, none. He lifted his gun up toward me. I kept walking as I didn't hear or see anything. Though I felt I was dreaming, I was in a total shock of mind.
I escaped Shire on foot from constant artillery strikes and bombardment from the Ethiopian and Eritrean forces. I arrived in Axum on November 26th, hoping to find a safe haven from all the bombardment, shelling, and killings. I had high hopes Axum would be safer than Shire, but I was wrong. Axum was also facing constant army tank shelling attacks. On November 27th, 2020, I was hit by shrapnel of shells and tanks fired by the Ethiopian and Eritrean forces. My face was severely injured, my right jaw was gone, and my shoulder was also hit. I was in excruciating pain. I needed emergency help to go to the hospital, but there was no ambulance in Axum. I was walking aimlessly, searching in the street to get medical help. I ran into a bystander who saw my injury and said he would take me to the referral hospital. We arrived at the hospital, but there were no medics to help me. There were a couple of guys who knew a little about medicine and were able to give me IV fluids since most of the medical equipment and medications were looted by the Eritrean forces.
My human dignity was taken away from me. My body was eaten by hyenas. My body was left in pieces on the streets of Axum for days. After days passed, people recognized what was left of me and gathered my bones to bury me.
The Eritrean and Ethiopian force not only killed me, they also killed my parents who raised me, who told me one day I will be a doctor and change the world. The Eritrean force gladly took my life short. Why?
My life was taken short. I don't deserve this. I was looking forward to start school after being quarantined for a month from coronavirus. I was also looking forward to play with my friends at school, but I am no longer around. I wonder if all my friends are no longer around too.
Our dead bodies remained on the ground for days and no one was allowed to pick our bodies, nor even give us a proper burial. With no one to mourn for us, we have become forgotten. Still our bodies remained on the ground. Alas, we have become food to the wild beasts and birds.
Then I woke up in a ditch on top of countless dead bodies, including children. Looking back when I passed out from the news, the Amhara Fano probably thought I died. But God must have heard my plea. Here I am, a living testimony. Because of what they did to me, for days I was not able to speak nor swallow anything. Thank God I was able to communicate my traumatic story in writing. I'm a victim of Tigray genocide, but the Ethiopian government painted me as the criminal who committed the genocide. In reality, it was the Amhara Fano sponsored by the Ethiopian government who committed the genocide on the people of Tigray.
As the Eritrean forces were locking the gate to leave me inside with my two dead kids, I begged them to take my life too. But the Eritrean soldiers refused and said, no, we want you to suffer in sorrow, you goddamn Agame Wayane. For 3 days, I was locked inside my house. My world turned from light to hell. My grief has become a blanket around me. My eyes have become dry like the dry rivers. Everything has been taken away from me.
Thank God. Somehow I survived to tell the story, and yet I'm still being haunted by the atrocities I saw.
I still needed surgery on my face and shoulder, but no surgeon was to be found. I was left with my injury on my own with no one to take care of me. I could have been saved, but instead I was left to bleed out and die.
Our bodies are crying out to God for justice to what the Eritrean and Amhara forces did to us. They have transgressed our holy church and left our deceased bodies everywhere. Oh Lord, remember your words. You said, "It is mine to avenge. I will repay. In due time their foot will slip. Their day of disaster is near, and their doom rushes upon them." O Lord, remember thy word. Remember thy word.
This is just a glimpse of the genocide that is still being committed in Tigray by the Amhara Regional Army.
Amhara Regional Militia, the Fano Vigilante Group,
as well as both the Ethiopian and Eritrean force with the support of UAE drones bombings.
During the ongoing telecommunication and internet blackout since November 4th, 2020.
all Tigray's infrastructures,
Factories,
Hospitals,
Businesses,
Banks,
Universities,
schools,
churches and mosques,
civilian properties,
and farmers' livestock, their harvests are continuing to be looted and completely destroyed.
Humanitarian corridors and aid workers are systematically being blocked in order to starve the civilians in Tigray, to use starvation as a weapon to punish the people. This government is using the same method and tactics that was used by the Derg communist regime during the late 1970s and 80s in order to weaponize starvation.
As a result, we have more than 60,000 Tigrayan refugees in Sudan who fled in fear of their lives.
More than 4.5 million Tigrayans are in dire need of humanitarian assistance, and 2.5 million children are in dire need of food, medicine, and shelter. And more than 2 million Tigrayans are internally displaced.
The Ethiopian government, led by Abiy Ahmed Ali, continue to push out disinformation campaign and false propaganda regarding the genocide in Tigray.
Leading to this genocide, the Ethiopian government has been waging genocidal propaganda against Tigrayans using its own government media outlets. As a result, most of Ethiopians have supported this genocidal war on the people of Tigray.
We were wrongly painted as thieves, criminals, daytime hyenas by the unelected Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali. Therefore, we ask the international community not to remain silent anymore. We also urge the United States, UN, and the EU to act now before our people perish in a virtual blackout.